Chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays offside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.
Hello, welcome to this latest episode of the Gull'S Live View. Wow, the smiles on our faces have returned. Look at this. It's been probably the last two episodes of season 3. I think it's going to be this, and we're going to start season 4. But it's thought because we can wrap up like the last couple of weeks in this bit. I'm joined by Dom.
Good evening, guys. That's a wrap. That sounds so professional, doesn't it?
Yes, I know. I'm joined by Chris.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't
You're
last.
different all on my screen.
Yeah.
You're different all on my screen
yes.
this week. Yeah.
Hello. Are you doing all right?
I'm not too bad. I'm doing very good. Thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm joined by Tom.
You are saving the best for last. Good evening, lads.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Where do we start on this one? Honestly, there's so much good news and good things to talk about. I actually don't know where to start. Usually it's like, I've got to remember all this stuff, but there's so much good stuff. We'll go around the call. But I mean, for me, just for the first time in years, the immense pride of the whole football club. We've literally, I hate to say it, I'm like, one of them, but we've got our club back. It is literally like that. We've got our football club back. We've got people who care about the community, getting this special community back on its feet. It's going to be a long, long journey, but oh my God, we're in some fun. It really feels like we're in some fun already. I'm loving it already. I was just talking to my dad, actually. We've also gone talking together for years, and he said, I just didn't think I'd see this in my lifetime. And to be fair, I mean, look, we're still in the 6th tier. Maxwell and Barrett starting in 9th tier when they went through all this, and they both lost in the playoffs, unfortunately, for them this year. So they were already, even though we're a step behind, we're miles away back from the Football League. Yeah, but we're a lot closer than we could have been. And we've got to thank Westcott, we've got to thank all the consortium, we've got to thank the supporters trust, we've got to thank, obviously Warnock coming in to help, and now we've got Paul Wootton, which we're going to speak more about in part 2. But honestly, I'm so excited. I am so excited for the season. I'm so excited for pre-season. Yeah, even going to do a bit of painting, I think, to help. Well, which ones I've painted, because it'll be uneven. He's done them. But yeah, go on then, Dom. Dom, you start. What are your main thoughts towards it?
We go back to February first, didn't we? There didn't seem to be a lot of hope around, did there? There's a lot of talk if the owner does leave, who's going to step up? What's our future as a football club? It was grim times, wasn't it? We had nobody to believe in at the club. Where were we going? Then we started to find hope last few months, and we realised that people were interested in the club, and it wasn't just people; it was real supporters.
You want just asset people,
real supporters who care about the club, and we want people who are ambassadors for not just the club but for the Yellow Army. We want people
that's the main thing.
We can believe in, people that the outside world will believe in. They see the passion that they will have for the football club, and that'll help so much. I think people like Michael Westcott, die-hard Torquay fans, and
amazing media work as well.
The story behind, I think he was a reporter at the Bring game. That was his first job. So that story is great, I think, and all that helps just to make it such a romantic exercise this whole thing has gone through. But yeah, I'm very excited for it all. The appointments have been great this week. It feels all good at the moment, all good vibes. I mean, I don't like to jump in to the deep end too much and think we're suddenly going to run away with the league next year and everything's going to come up rosy. But we've got good people in, and people I can just get behind. I said to Clive the other day on the WhatsApp, I said, I just didn't like the people at our football club last year. I didn't believe.
I felt uncomfortable. Every time
I didn't want to get behind them. The whole Gary Johnson effect was horrible.
Yeah, it's horrid.
Honestly, it left such a bad taste, didn't it? It felt like such a tough time. So this is going to be completely different, I think. I'm really happy about it all. So I'm looking forward to the season already, but we've got a while to wait. So, and a lot of players to get. So there you go. But,
I mean, as Paul said, he's got 17 players he's got to sign. But
I feel very good about it.
I feel good about it. I feel great about it. Go on, Chris. What have you got to add?
One note of caution before I say anything: the takeover's got to go through yet.
Yeah,
and that struck home when I read the statement on Paul Watton joining yesterday. Was it subject? He'll start when the takeover's complete. And you're like, oh yeah, try and thought that. So yeah, but you got to assume everything's going to go through, haven't you? But yeah. I think it almost feels like kind of the best is yet to come, isn't it? In terms of just the feel of the place as much as anything. I think the getting the management team right is the most important job at any football club, and then their job is to get the player recruitment right. So that's the next job. But in terms of the ownership, it's almost the best case scenario that you kind of couldn't almost have dreamed up, isn't it? You know, that article, which I think is great. I would say that's gone on the Talky Talk site today with a little bit of all of our thoughts over the last few days. I think it's great in that, and I put in that you kind of almost couldn't have dreamed this scenario, that you'd have Talky supporters who are local businessmen who had the finance to fund the club, and consequently they have the right mentality and the right opinions and the right feelings towards the club and the supporters and the community. You almost kind of couldn't believe it would happen, but to have found 6 businessmen who are prepared to do that, and they've already started. Well, you know, the video of Warnock and Watton on the pier is just brilliant, and you know, already just
forward thinking.
Yeah, it is, and
absolutely, that's what we needed.
Absolutely, and I think again, listening to them yesterday, I think Warnock is an astute person to have involved, because I don't think he'll get a first team manager's job again. And I think to have him involved at a club like ours with his expertise, and he'll bring.
He won't come here to fail, will he? Warnock, he's still got a lot of fire about him. He'll come here to succeed.
Absolutely, yeah. And but having said that, there wasn't any all football league in 2 years and all that, because that's everyone's aspiration if you're in our league, because that's the best case scenario, isn't it? But yeah, I just think, and again, listening to them yesterday, I think one of the things, and again, I put in that article, one thing that struck me from all the things that Watton said was that you can't guarantee the best players or the best results or whatever, but he said every team that goes on that pitch will understand what it means. And every player that pulls on that shirt will understand what it means to wear that shirt and will give their everything. And I think from a supporter perspective, that's all you ever want. If results come and the players are good enough, great. But that's not. It just feels like
he watched our videos and anything really, isn't it, Tom? Like, because what he was on about this morning on radio, honestly, what was on about radio just says what we all want, the hard working bit, but also we've got technical players to win the game. Also talking about emotional intelligence of players and how to get the best out, the modern day manager, which is why these new coaches succeed and why the older coaches struggle if they don't adapt, as well
Gary
as
Johnson.
as well as just the understanding of it all. I thought his interview was so good this morning.
Having that football know-how that is top of the tab, something we talked about last season,
one out of player. His team made a mockery of us. His team made a mockery of us on Boxing Day.
But if you remember as well what sort of player he was a no-nonsense, good in the tackle. He scored some brilliant goals, some free kicks, and actually he was. It feels very much like he's going to be the sort of manager, head coach, first team manager is his title, isn't it? That actually will kind of, there'll be no quarter given, and actually you'll come off that pitch having given everything. Which I have to say, I think it was the feeling I had from games towards the end of the season under Downs, because I think at times earlier in the season it didn't always feel like that.
Whereas under Downs at the end, less than.
We'll say one thing actually. We'll say one thing on here. Was there, credit to Aaron Downs' departed.
Absolutely,
the job he did, and the bloke he has been since he came into our football club as a player under Marston Lee. Absolute high regards. I'm so happy it did end up being pretty well for him. There's still lots of problems, and he was part of the problem. A lot of people probably can't really say with Johnson, and that it didn't exactly change overnight, but nothing really did. But the way he handled himself, he didn't have to carry on with that role. But and I wish him really good luck in the future with that.
Absolutely, and I think it said a lot for him as a person, didn't it? One of the things that's important. One of the things that's important as a human being, I always think, is integrity and honesty, and he had all of that in droves, didn't he? So absolutely good luck to him. He
was a very selfish person compared to Gary Johnson. I got the feeling that Gary was just looking after himself. Whereas Aaron Downs was very much wary of the supporters and looking after everything that went around the club. He wanted everyone to be happy. And
Johnson's PR exit interview on the ITV, whatever it was, the West Country After, that summed up everything. It was all about him and kind of that stuff. Go on, Tom, bring you into for that bit.
Oh, well, what a couple of weeks it's been, eh? It's just crazy what's transpired at this football club. I think I can honestly say it's the first time in a long time that I can actually say to people that I'm proud to be a Torquay United fan once again.
Yeah, win
the negativity and the people running the club in the past have gone. They were only in it for themselves. They obviously weren't there for the fans or the football club's best interests. And we've now got a club that's going to be run by, supporters who have the club at heart, like we all do. And already the sounds coming out of the club, getting, Playmore painted up and spruced up a bit. I mean, that ground's been needing some renovation, for years, like just walking past it. It's just dilapidated out on the outside, and it just needs a bit of TLC, and that's what we're going to get under a new ownership. And I'm so glad it's under this new consortium, and hopefully the trust will be able to get involved in some way. It's got to become a proper fans club, and I know I've been an advocate for fan ownership for ages now, but it's just great. And then just to have someone like Neil Warnock, and in the back room as well, like amazing. It's mental. Like the video that went out yesterday was absolute top class, and as soon as it's had over 2 million views on Twitter alone, like
it's ridiculous,
being mental. So, and that can only benefit us, going forward as a football club. It's top PR, and it's something that this football club has been lacking for so long, and it's been so sad and mismanaged for so long. And it's almost like the dark clouds, the storm clouds that have been hovering around Playmore for the last 5-6 years, they're finally clearing, and the sunshine's going to start.
Amazing.
And this club is on its way to recovery. And obviously it's going to take some time. And I think the important thing from my perspective is that we need to give Paul Wharton time. It's not going to be.
He'll get it.
We don't know how long this CBA is going to be. Is it the end of the month? Is it going to be in the next couple of days? We don't know that yet. So, whether that hampers what transfers that we're possibly looking for. Does it mean we have to wait till June? It's a lot of work ahead, but I think a lot of fans will be willing.
It's going to be a slow burner this season.
It is going to be a slow burner, but I think the whole fan base will be patient, and we'll give everyone time to get this football club back on track, because we've been mismanaged and misrun for so many years. And
what we're going to get is so much more honesty and integrity from these people, aren't they? They're going to speak to us and tell us what's going on. And people just appreciate that so much, because it was very much like, we'll tell you what we want to tell you on the previous regime when you'd hear from
we didn't even know the length of anyone's contract. We never knew Gary Johnson's contract.
It was very like...
we already know Wotton's. So it's like, that's the difference.
It was unnecessarily secretive in all areas, wasn't it? So I think we'll hear much more honesty from these guys. And I think it will translate to the dressing room. I think there'll be honest truths told around the dressing room. I don't think he's going to be messing around. I think he'll be asking a lot.
It's a sensible appointment as well, I feel like. Wotton,
it's great appointment.
I think he's done really well at Truro, all things considered. I mean, had they not had to play all their games like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I mean,
higher this season, and they would have gone up under COVID probably as well.
Yeah, probably. So I think he's a good manager at this level. He should be able to scout some good players. Obviously, there's still question marks about how we're going to go forward this season for next season. Are we going to be full time? Is it going to be a mix of full time and part time? So I guess that's something that will come in due course. But
we'll make whatever work.
If we are leaning towards a hybrid model, then that's probably the best of both worlds for us. And there's some promising talent in the Southwest and around. So I wouldn't be opposed to a hybrid model for next season.
Not at all.
But it's just the whole mood, like the whole fan base, the club, it's just completely lifted in the space of a couple of weeks. And obviously, yes, the technicalities are, we've still got to get the, ownership done and all that, but things are looking up. And I think going forward into next season, I'm positively optimistic that we're going to have a good season. Doesn't mean we might be pushing for top spot. It's too early to say, but I'd like to think we can be up there, top half playoffs.
All you have to do is come into 7th place and we build over the season, and then I think that's an achievement, and try and win the playoffs.
That should be the push to get to the playoffs.
Just getting a good squad and building on it over time.
Yeah.
Just on the hybrid model, what made an interesting comment yesterday in passing, I heard, I think it was the phrase was something like, you miss out on a lot of good National League players by being full-time at this level. And which I thought was an interesting comment, which I kind of don't think, full-time is everything. But actually, whether someone like Tyler Harvey's probably a good example of that, isn't he? Because actually, not that I'm suggesting he's a player we'll be signing necessarily, but I know Johnson's tried to sign him before, but actually, in terms of a full-time footballer compared to a part-time role, part-time job, part-time footballer,
they've got more about them surely as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's interesting to think it sounds bizarre, but actually you could miss out. There are better footballers who are part-time than there are that are full-time. But
that's why the Conference North is so strong. That's why the North's so strong.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting subject. The whole
look what Stockport did as well. As soon as you get into National League, you need to be full-time again. Yeah. Now, about 5 years ago, I still say you could get away with part-time, but now you need to be full-time. But look what Stockport did in the 6th tier. It worked for them.
I think it's good if we can avoid going fully part-time, because if you keep a full-time element to the squad, then you can it's easier to build from that if you go up, isn't it, rather than going all in part-time. So if we can give a hybrid version of that, I don't know how that'll work. That'll be all down to the management and how that's treated. But that's a really interesting subject going forward. So I don't see why it can't
I don't get the complete negativity either. It really gets to me a bit when people can say what you want. I always say that people can say their own opinions, and it's our job to bring everyone's opinions in. But really, it's just like we almost didn't have a football club.
Yeah,
you know, we almost were in Division 9, Tier 9, and it's like it's going to work.
We had a bigger budget. We had a bigger budget last year.
And how many part-timers
Johnson spent the money last year?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. Both of you.
But it sounds like we're going to have, although it might be a bit reduced from last season, it still sounds like from what everything's been said, we're going to have one of the bigger budgets in the league. So it's how you utilize it. Like there's some talent again. There's some talented young players around this division
and this area as well. Fed off the Southwest makes it harder. Nonsense, honestly, especially down here now if we're going like part time. But who will know that better? A manager who's been all around these tiers, Paul Watson, for the last few years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he'll be looking to get the sort of big players in, the leaders of the dressing room, and build around that. So and then he'll be looking to get some loans in, and it'll be a real mixture. But if you can get that balance right, there's no reason it can't work. No reason at all.
Totally right.
I feel more confident under Watton than I do under Johnson. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Because he's got fire in his belly still. I mean, Gary Johnson was great when he came. He still had fire. He had something to prove. He was desperate to win. He lost that over time. He stopped caring last season for me. So that's what brought us to this position. So we got new guy, fire in his belly. That's what I want to see.
And people may have different opinions. People, and I know it's only like probably a minority, but I mean, at the end of the day, one thing, if when I do read the odd negative thing, I'm like, if you can't, just a bit of you get a bit excited or feel a bit of pride about this, then it's just not probably the football club or the sport even. Like I know it's been mainly positive, and look, people are totally fine to be like, right, I'm not going to get really excited. If that's the way you deal with news, that's absolutely fine, or just feel that's okay. But for me, it's just so like I can't wait. I just can't wait for all of it. Hopefully when it all goes fully through, the signings to come in, that excitement. This thing about football, I always call it the delusion or illusion of winning. And that is, until it's mathematically possible, you've still got a bit of thing of we could go up this year, or we could achieve something this year, or you know what it's like on Twitter. It's HMS having all that stuff, and it's no one's ever phrased it as that, but you know what I mean. It's all that stuff where it's our year this year, and I know 16 teams say that, but that's the fun. That's what football is. If you're not going there all season going, oh, this is gonna be our one, and then when you lose, you're like, oh well, that's the fun of it. That's the fun of football. It's like when we originally under, and that's how I feel when we get this in. It's like we could be winning a lot. It's like eventually. So you just can't feel excited by it.
If you can't get excited or optimistic about things, then you're in the wrong business, aren't you? That's the whole part of the football fan, and the ups and downs.
Totally right.
Listen, these are supporters owning our future. This is exciting.
Tom, you said it in a better way, just with less words and waffle. Thank you.
The first interesting decision they've got to make in terms of the supporter side, I think, is a season ticket approach. Because they're not going to, some people are like, oh, let's go for an incentivize, fans deserve it and all this. But the reality is, it's still a football club. I personally wouldn't have an issue if they held the prices, because last year we all paid our money and we did what we did because it's our football club. But the people we were giving it to left a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth. But would you have any concerns giving your money for your season ticket to this club and this ownership and this regime and this model and this potential? I don't think people would.
If I'm going there and the match day experience improves, which I'm sure it will, and all the feeling and pride around the club improves, which I'm sure it will, where it is already. Yeah, that's what you go for. You don't buy football tickets for results as such. It's the whole thing.
Nice.
It's nice. That's what we were kind of getting to. And I know the result makes it, but There's a difference. There is a difference. Like results aren't guaranteed with football. Like you can't say, "Oh, I've wasted all my money." The reason we felt we wasted our money last year is because no one cared back. Nothing was given back to us.
Right.
You know, that's the difference. So this year, you know, we're going to lose games. We've got to get ready to
we'll
lose
see more
games.
imagination for these people because they are supporters, so they'll understand.
But they're businessmen as well.
Understand the people, and you got to work out what your supporter base is about. So you now have your die-hard season ticket holders, don't you? But then you have people who only make it down for a certain amount of games a season, and maybe you do certain deals or work things out for them.
Yeah, no. Or
again, even something simple like engaging with the supporters club, the travel club, and advertising the travel club, and you know, sticking a fiver in per seat booked a couple of times, stuff like that. I mean, it's not hard stuff, is it? Really?
No, it's making people think, "Oh, I love this. I'm gonna bring my mate." Yeah, already. But even people like non-Torquay fans, as soon as they hear Warnock, as soon as they hear that, I'm going, "Do you want to come to Torquay? It's gonna be a good place." Yeah, I'll come to Torquay. Funny people were, you know, don't really support or follow Torquay. You hear Warnock, they hear that. It's like when Barry Fry's at Peterborough still is. I remember that, you know, the old Barry Fry TV things, and when he was like Chan originally in the 90s, and he was doing all these like sponsors days, and you bring Jimmy Greaves over and all that. That's the sort of people Warnock will be doing, sort of thing he'll be doing. He can raise money for the club. It's just
I think our
still got passion for it, hasn't he?
I think our expectations got so low on ownership that we just got to that point where you didn't expect anything.
It sounds horrendous. It sounds like a horrendous.
Even doing little things, these new owners will improve.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds horrendous and a horrendous comparison, but I'm sure people get where I'm coming from. When an individual comes out of a very toxic relationship of some sort, and like this kind of was in a way, you know, and then they get into a new one and they're very appreciative. You're like, oh, they did that little, yes, of course, people do that. Really? Wow. And that's what it feels like with this thing. Oh, an owner who actually speaks to the BBC Radio Devon. Oh, an owner who speaks to the local press. Real people really care. Oh, wow. Right. I'm not used to that. It's what it feels like. So
yesterday was summed up for me when my oldest son, we were talking about it and all getting all excited about the season, and he was gutted when I told him that the season doesn't start till the 10th of August.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, that's 3 months away. I was like, well, no. So I hope we'll get to some of the friendlies and that, but that almost summed up the day for me, because actually that's kind of, you know, child's viewpoint's different, but you know,
but we've got that to look forward to now over the summer. We've got hope, we've got passion.
In the week, we'll be looking forward to the weekends, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I will say as well is, you know, we've managed, you know, under the old regime, we were still getting crowds of 2,000 at Playmore. There's no excuse now why we can't get to 3,000, why we can't get to 4,000, why we can't surpass, say, 2,000 season tickets. You know, the whole vibe. The fans have got to get behind everything now, and I'm sure the fans will. And, you know, personally for me, if they need any help, you know, sorting the pit, you know, the painting and stuff out, I think the Tuster on that side anyway, dealing with that. But you know, everyone's going to get behind.
It could have easily dwindled under that ownership, because when people see that you don't care much for them, they can easily leave. But the loyalty remained, didn't it, throughout?
Yeah.
And we've got that to fall back on.
Imagine imagine this Torquay United under new ownership, fans who care about the football club running it, Neil Warnock helping behind the scenes. There's so much potential. I keep saying it, lads. There's so much potential at this football club to go far. Neil Warnock thinks we should be in League One. I mean, could be. We were 20 years ago. Why not again? Just get behind everyone. Just get behind it and do your part. Buy a season ticket. Get to games. You know, let's just embrace this new Torquay chapter in our history. And I'm sure it's going to be a promising one. I think the important thing, though, especially is, you know, the one thing that I think a lot of people respect about Torquay Talk is that, you know, we do hold people to account and we do say it as it is. And I think it's important that we continue in that regard to an extent. Obviously, new ownership, give them time, not a problem. But I think ultimately we all just want to work together for the best for this football club. And, you know, Torquay United means a lot to a lot of people. For a small club in Devon, we have quite a good reputation, it seems. You know, Neil Warnock coming back after what he had a couple of months in '93 managing us and keeping us up, and you know, he was saying that kind of set his career off, didn't it? So it's great that, you know, this club is held in high regard to so many people. And
it was only them and us under the previous regime because of their attitude. That wasn't down to us. That was the way they treated the club. So we'll get behind these people. And
yeah. But that will be episode 1. We've got Kelly's Corner coming up in episode 2. Nice positive questioning, nice positive answers. Not ready for season 4 of us. It's going to be great. I'm smiling.
You're going to be there for season 4, Sam, where you being poached?
Yeah, well, you got Sky Sports deal or something, or
nothing in yet. No, I'm here. No, I'll be here. It's gonna be great. I'm actually
you don't have to look disappointed about that.
Yeah, no, it's I can't wait. It's actually gonna be nice bringing it all to everyone next season. So yeah, right, go on then, into Kelly's Corner.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. He stays onside. Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.